All right, did everybody come back? All right, at the end of class, I'll take attendance. All right, so we're talking a little bit about the simulation, the new shoe simulation. That's a great practical experience for you. And something that you should put on your resume. It's basically, it's a type of virtual internship. Right, Candace? So you're going to be able to get results based on your decisions. So you're going to have a sense as to whether you spent too much money on advertising or not enough money on advertising or not enough money on new product development, because we have a shoe business. So you need to decide how much money you're going to invest in new product development to come out with new lines of shoes. So far this semester we did the analysis of Prince Sports. So Prince Sports, Active Ion, BMW, and this week is Washburn. Next week is Reptile. So we were saying that every week, every Tuesday, there's an assignment due, a written assignment, and you need to post that on Blackboard. So every Tuesday, but it's helpful to have this in front of you, have the syllabus in front of you, but in general, it's every Tuesday, right? Every Tuesday, there's an assignment due. Sometimes students say, oh, I didn't think there was an assignment due this week. How come? Why would you think that? That's why I tell them, leave the thinking to me, right? I'm your coach. I have a plan for your success. So, we're doing some research this semester. We're doing marketing research. Does that seem like something that's appropriate for our class? To do marketing research, considering it's a course in marketing? You guys think so? So, these are the questionnaires that we're completing this semester, most of them. Why are we doing this? Who could tell me why we're doing this? Why are we completing these questionnaires? So we're completing these questionnaires so that you could get practical hands-on experience doing marketing research. So that when you go on interviews, you could tell people that you participated in marketing research. And not only that, but importantly, my objective is not to just tell you how to conduct marketing research, but to show you how to conduct marketing research. So another approach could have been to have you write the questionnaires. How much fun would that be? Yeah. Okay, so what I did was I wrote the questionnaires so that you could get experience seeing what it's like to complete a professional marketing research questionnaire. So these questionnaires were written by me. I like to think that they're probably above average when it comes to marketing research questionnaires. So this is part of the showing, not just telling. So it's not enough, I think, to tell you about different scales, nominal scales, interval scales, ordinal scales when preparing a questionnaire. I think that as your coach, I need to show you how to do that. So these are great examples of marketing research. And in this case, these questionnaires are what we consider to be quantitative research. So those are the links, and everybody needs to complete the questionnaire, those questionnaires, and we've been doing that week by week. Some of the questionnaires focus specifically on one of our critical learning goals, which is building ethical awareness. So hopefully, because I can't teach you to be ethical, but what I could do is get you to think about ethical issues, ethical dilemmas. And these questions, I'm sure that you found them intriguing and stimulating and got you to think a lot about ethical dilemmas. Because as you move forward in your career, and even in your current position, the current job that you're in, you're going to face ethical dilemmas. You're going to have to make decisions. And you want to make the right decision, the one that's both ethical and legal. Now, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, you can also complete these questionnaires. So the links are available, and then at the end of the semester, I'm going to share the results with the students on our team. Now, we're on a college campus. Now, a lot of things happen on a college campus besides students meeting with professors, besides lectures. Some of the things that happen on campus are fun. Not as much fun as this, but fun. You don't believe me, right? Yeah, we have Halloween parties, and there's a lot of clubs that are on campus. So you might have said, well, why did I post this on Blackboard? These are links to student clubs on the college campus, some of them. These are the ones that I'm closely involved in and are the faculty advisor. So they're student organizations, they're student clubs. They're run by students, but every club has to have an advisor, a faculty advisor. So I advise several clubs on campus. So I had posted that on Blackboard for you so you could get more information. The elections, we're having elections in March. So hope is not a plan, so I'm trying to demonstrate to you good planning. So the elections for the executive team, the president, the vice president, the secretary, and the treasurer are going to be in March. So you could join these clubs. You could also be part of the leadership team if you like. So those are the links. If you want, you could like them. Those in cyberspace right now watching this on YouTube, if you want, you could like them too. I'm also going to post the applications for those clubs as well. Look at this, the Marketing Global Leadership Academic Association. Fun times. So, if you're interested in marketing, there's this student organization. Since 2009, I'm the faculty advisor for this student club. This is one of the prior semesters, I had a marketing plan competition. And the student with the best marketing plan received a $500 scholarship. I coordinated that with the MGLA, Marketing Global Leadership Academic Association, but the prize, the scholarship, was funded by myself. I funded the scholarship. So no university, college, or student funds were used, just so that we're all on the same page. Somebody had actually asked me that. I'm like, are you serious? No, I funded it. Look at this. Anybody interested in income tax? Look, there's a club. There's a club. And guess what? I'm the faculty advisor. So I'm sharing this with you because I want you to get the most out of your college experience. It's not just about going to class. There's things that are happening on campus. Parties, and we have guest speakers. And the Business Leadership Society. In 2006, I worked with 2 students to form the Business Leadership Society. You could join the Business Leadership Society. We're going to have an election in March. You might be on the leadership team. That was our 5-year anniversary. So we had a big celebration. That's online. And then this is you saw this too, this is a scholarship that I'm funding. This was a business plan competition. Okay, so those are all about student clubs, right? Clubs on campus. So I think it's important to take just 5 minutes out of our marketing lecture here to talk about student clubs, because that's part of your college experience, not just about this 5-hour lecture tonight until midnight. There's other things going on campus. These are clubs, these are student organizations that I'm closely involved in, but there's others, there's dozens and dozens of other clubs on campus that you could be associated with. And it's a good way to enhance your resume too, so that you can get leadership experience. So it's good to have internships, it's good to be involved in student clubs, student organizations. Hiring managers look for these things. They want to see that there's a side of you other than your 3.9 GPA. They want to know that you're part of the Business Leadership Society. They want to know that you're part of the chess club, that you do things other than study cases about Prince Sports, BMW, and Washburn guitar. They want to see that you're multifaceted in your interests and your activities. Anybody believe what I'm saying? No, not really? I don't get paid to get students to sign up. Really, I don't. So, but I'm just trying to get you engaged in things that are going on campus. But no pressure. No pressure. Really, I know, I mean that. I'm just trying to make you aware of there are a lot of things that happen on campus that are fun other than class. These are some of them. Now, you want to see a picture of my son? The last time I said that, I said, do you want to see a picture of my son? And the entire class in stereophonics says, you're married? I was like, wow. Wow. I didn't say I was married. I just asked them if they wanted to see a picture of my son. That doesn't mean that I'm married, right? Does it? That's my son. His name is Hershey Coco. All right, so today what we're going to talk about is different ways to segment the market. So we're going to talk about demographic segmentation, psychographic segmentation, behavioral segmentation. We're going to talk about the different criteria in selecting segments. We're going to talk about why products fail. We're going to talk about the product life cycle. We're going to talk about ways to influence the product life cycle. So important to keep in mind is that the product life cycle, which is an extremely important marketing concept, is something that we can manage. We need to be able to influence the product life cycle. We're going to talk about branding. I'm going to show you what a brand hierarchy is. We'll talk about different branding strategies and pricing objectives. First, I just want to quickly go through some of the things we talked about last time. Quickly. I mean, I know we're here till midnight, but just quickly. All right, so let's quickly talk about what is marketing, the marketing mix, market segments, different levels, 3 strategic levels and plans, mission, vision, and values, marketing metrics, the BCG model, the market product strategies, and SWOT. All right, so we talked about that last time. Let's give ourselves 10 minutes to get through this, all right? So we talked about this already, but just to ground us, let's quickly go through this, all right? Here we go. So we said that marketing is about creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging value. That's what marketing is. Kind of from like 30,000 feet, if you will. So big picture, what is marketing? That's what marketing is, about creating, communicating, delivering, and exchanging value. And value, we said, importantly said, value is a function of price, quality, and benefits. So we said value doesn't mean inexpensive. It doesn't mean cheap. So if something is a good value, it's because of the price, quality, and benefits that are offered. So something could be very expensive. It might be the most expensive version of the product on the market, but it's a good value because the quality is high, because the features and benefits are significant relative to the competitors. We said that the marketing mix are those controllable factors. The marketing mix is known as the 4 Ps. Product, price, place, and promotion. Those are the 4 Ps of marketing. Critical to understand that. So the marketing mix are those controllable factors. So the product we could alter. So the product that we sell can be altered. The price, we could change the price. We could determine the place where we sell the product. And the promotions is something that's within our control. Advertising, for example, is a part of promotions. So promotions, right, in this model, the word promotions is used very broadly. It includes sales promotions, trade promotions, advertising, and there's a lot of different forms of advertising. Outdoor advertising, such as billboards. That'd be a good example of outdoor advertising. We could advertise on TV, the radio, newspapers, magazines. So advertising can be broadcast, or it could be print, for example. There's different ways that we could advertise, that we could communicate. But we said that marketing is about creating and communicating. So it's not enough to create a product or service, but we need to be able to communicate that. So we need to have an integrated marketing communications plan. IMC, Integrated Marketing Communications. So this is an illustration of the marketing mix and some of the things that are within our control. So in terms of the product, keep in mind that the brand name is what's wrapped around the product. So what makes one product different from another is that it's wrapped in a different brand. All products in a given category have the same generic functionality. What does that mean? So take, for example, cars. All cars provide the same generic functionality, which is what? Transportation. So all cars provide transportation. But one car is different from the other because it's wrapped in a different brand. What are some different names of cars? Different brand names of cars? Who could tell us? Somebody, raise your hand if you know the name, the brand name of a car. Yes, go ahead, in the back. What is it? Honda. Honda is a brand name. The Honda brand name is wrapped around that product. That's what distinguishes that car from a different brand name, which is what? What's another brand name? Go ahead. A Porsche. So a Honda and a Porsche both provide the same generic functionality, transportation, but those products are wrapped in different brand names. Who could give us another example? A Subaru, a Mercedes. So all of those individual brand names are wrapped around their respective products. That's what differentiates one product from another. So one product in a given category is unique because it's wrapped in a different brand. Now the brand name needs to be communicated. How do we communicate the brand name? Well, what we do is we develop a logo. A logo is a graphic representation of the brand name. So, for example, look at this packaging. So the brand name is Lay's. So the Lay's brand is communicated to us in that graphic, which is unique from the Cheetos logo. So you want your logo to be unique. You want it to be memorable. You want it to be transferable and adaptable over time. Now, companies also develop symbols to communicate and represent their brand. But a symbol does not include any words. A symbol is a graphic representation of the brand, but it doesn't include any words. The logo is a graphic representation of the brand name. It's a graphic representation of the brand name, and we refer to that as a word mark. So some other examples. So Rolled Gold is another brand name that's a logo that's communicated to us in a logo. Fritos is another brand name, and it has a unique logo. We said that there's different levels in the planning process. We develop a strategy at the corporate level, at the strategic business unit level. So here we're talking about an SBU, strategic business unit, and at the functional level. So we're going to develop 3 plans. There's going to be a corporate plan, which is what communicates the overall direction, strategy, and objectives of the organization, the mission, the value, and the vision for the entire organization. And then each strategic business unit is going to develop a business plan to support the corporate plan. So how is the corporate plan going to come to life? How are we going to achieve the goals and objectives that are mapped out in the corporate plan? Well, the strategic business units, they need to have a business plan that's going to enable each individual business unit to achieve the goals and objectives, mission and vision of the entire organization. So they're each going to have their own business plan. And each functional area, each department, whether it's the marketing department or the finance department, manufacturing, HR, each of those are going to have their own plan. But remember, there needs to be shared objectives, shared goals. So that means that everybody in the organization needs to be working towards the same goals and objectives. Now, how they're going to achieve those goals and objectives, how they're going to influence those goals and objectives are going to be described in their plan. So their plan is going to articulate their strategies and tactics. We said this is a good example of a mission statement. To explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. So the mission statement basically communicates what business that you're in. And last time we looked at some other examples. Marketing metrics. So how do we measure performance? Well, there's a number of ways that we can measure performance. One of them is the level of profit. We could look at sales. So how much sales were generated in terms of dollars and in terms of the number of units. So how many units did we sell? And how many dollars did we generate in sales? What is our market share? Remember we said, well, if we sold 50,000 bottles of shampoo, we don't really know if that's a good thing or not until we're able to compare that to the category as a whole. Remember we said, well, 50,000 units sounds like a lot of shampoo to sell. And I know you're thinking, what does this guy know about shampoo? But I know a lot about shampoo. And I'm going to tell you about it sometime. So we need to understand our market share. What percentage of the market is our product? So in terms of the number of units, for example, what percentage of the number of units being sold is our product, which of course is wrapped in our brand? What percentage? So we said 50,000 units could be a pretty large number, but how many units were sold in the entire category? So then we said, well, in the entire category, we found out that 500,000 units of shampoo were sold. 500,000 bottles of shampoo. So if 500,000 bottles of shampoo were sold last year, and we sold 50,000 of those units, then what is our market share? Business students, 10%. So 50,000 is 10% of 500,000. Is that right? Yes. So our market share is 10%. So there's 500,000 units sold, 500,000 bottles of shampoo, 10% of them were ours. So that doesn't mean that 10% is not a nice business to have. It doesn't mean it's not significant, but it puts it into perspective. So relative to our competition, we sold 10%. 10% of the shampoo that was sold was our product, with our brand, wrapped in our brand. So we don't have 50% market share. We don't have 60% market share. We don't have 70% market share. It doesn't mean that 10% is not a very profitable business, but it puts it into perspective for us. Now we can determine whether or not we want our goal to be to increase our market share. But in some categories that are mature, and we're going to talk about the product life cycle, in some categories that are mature, it may not be possible to grow market share because the market may not be growing. So the only way that you're going to be able to increase your market share in a category that isn't growing is if you're stealing share from your competitors. That means what? That their customers start using our product. They start buying our product. So these are some metrics that are used to evaluate our performance as executives. Customer satisfaction is an important one. How do you know if your product is a success? Well, not just the number of units that you sell, but what are the customers saying? Would they buy your product again? Do they find your product easy to use? Is your product helpful? So a lot of market research is done around customer satisfaction, around brand awareness. So a lot of research is done around branding. The level of brand awareness, whether it's brand recognition or brand recall, brand image, brand perceptions. In fact, what we do is we develop a perceptual map based on our marketing research to understand where we're positioned in the marketplace relative to our competitors. So market share, we said, is relative to our competitors. So we're looking at how many units we sold relative to the competition. We said that's very insightful. And also in terms of positioning, it's very helpful to develop a perceptual map to understand where we're positioned in the market relative to our competition. So is Honda and Mercedes and Porsche, are they all positioned the same in the marketplace? Their positioning is not the same. So we look at different dimensions. We look at quality, we look at price, we look at any number of dimensions and develop a perceptual map. Very often we develop 5 or more perceptual maps so we can understand where we're positioned relative to competitors, and importantly, keep in mind that we can reposition ourselves in the marketplace. So the reason we do that research, the reason why we try to understand where we're positioned relative to the competition is so that we could determine whether or not we want to reposition ourselves. So if we're perceived as being low quality and high price, that's a problem. We need to fix that. The good news is we can fix that with a marketing communications plan. If we successfully implement a marketing communications plan, we could change the perception that the target audience has of our brand and our product. We looked at the BCG model. We said that with all those strategic business units, we might have 10 or 12 strategic business units. One of them is TVs, one of them is laptops, one of them is tablets, the other one is cell phones, the other are gaming consoles. We said that with all those strategic business units, we need to be able to determine which ones are performing the best. So we need to do portfolio analysis. So the BCG model allows us to do a portfolio analysis. And what we do is we classify our strategic business units as either stars, question marks, cash cows, or dogs. So stars in the left corner here, has a high market share. So more than 10%. So high could be, let's say, 50% market share. And in terms of market growth, the market is growing significantly. Not 3%, not 5%, significantly. So maybe 50% or more. So if we have a business, if we have a strategic business unit that has a high market share and is in a category that's growing rapidly, that has a significant amount of growth, then we would classify that strategic business unit as a star. This is important because it's going to help us decide how to allocate our resources. So let's say we have a $100 million advertising budget and we have 10 strategic business units. So are we going to just give every strategic business unit $10 million? Or maybe some we should give none, and others we should give $25 million to spend on advertising, depending on whether or not they're classified as a star or a dog. This kind of looks like a dinosaur. Well, the way I draw it, it looks like a dinosaur. So if you look at YouTube lectures, you'll see that one of my sketches, students had commented that it looks more like a dinosaur than it does a dog. Maybe it was because of the teeth, I don't know. All right, so we talked about this last time. We're just doing a quick review. We said that there's different market product strategies, market penetration, market development, product development, and diversification. Market penetration is we're going to increase the sale of our existing products in our existing market. How are we going to do that? How are we going to achieve a market penetration strategy? What do we need to do? How are we going to increase the sales of our existing products in our existing markets? Go ahead, Alexis.
Sell more of it.
Sell more, but how? How are we going to sell more of it?
You can put it,
Make it more accessible, so have it distributed at more retailers. So instead of just having distribution at Kmart, maybe now we can get distribution at Walmart. So if we now have distribution at Walmart, if we're able to now get distribution at Walmart, is that going to enable us to sell more of our existing product? Yeah. We're probably going to sell a lot more if we weren't selling at Walmart before. What else? What else can we do? Coupons. So in a price-sensitive market, so if the elasticity of demand is high, that means there's a high level of price sensitivity. If we drop a coupon, which in effect reduces the price, then we're going to sell more. Does that make sense? So the coupons increase sales. So if it's a product that's subject to a high level of price elasticity of demand, so it's price sensitive, then when we lower the price, that means demand is going to increase. So we could get more distribution, we could drop a coupon. What else? What else are we going to do to increase the sales of our existing products in the existing markets? What else?
Advertise it.
Advertise it! So advertising, so if we spend money on advertising, I'd like to think that that means that we're going to sell more of our current products in our existing market. So if we're selling the product in the United States only, and we advertise, so then I think it's reasonable to assume that we're going to increase the sales of our existing products in the existing market. Market development, though, means that we're going to increase the sales of our existing products in new markets. So now we're going to sell not just in the United States, but we're going to sell in all of North America, which means that we're going to sell in Canada and also Mexico. So how are we going to increase sales? Well, we could implement a market development strategy, which means that we're going to sell our existing product, not a new product, the existing product, but sell it in new markets. So sell it now in Canada also. Sell it now also in Mexico. Maybe we also want to sell it in Europe. Product development means that we're going to develop a new product. We're going to develop a new product and sell that to our existing customers. So we're going to introduce an MP3 player, and then what we're going to do is we're going to introduce a tablet and then a phone. So that's an example of product development, of a market product strategy. And which company is a good example of that product development strategy? Apple. So they introduced the iPod, then they introduced the iPad, then they introduced the iPhone, the iWatch, iTV, iTouch. So those are all examples of a product development strategy. So that's an illustration of a company that implemented a product development strategy, which is to increase their sales by selling new products in the existing market. But another strategy is diversification, which is to sell in a new category and a new market. But we need to be sensitive to the level of brand elasticity, how far we could stretch our brand. Because can we sell, what do you think? Can we sell Apple ice cream? How is Apple positioned in the marketplace? They're positioned as an innovative electronics company. So you have to think about, when you think about brand extensions, you have to think about the level of brand elasticity, how far you could stretch your brand. So we looked at Ben & Jerry's. So this is a good example. So what did we say? So market penetration, current product in the current market. How are we going to sell more Ben & Jerry's ice cream, for example? We said we're going to advertise, we're going to introduce, Alexa said, increase the level of distribution, we're going to drop a coupon, right? What is your name? Catherine. Catherine says we're going to drop a coupon. But in terms of other strategies, we could also implement a market development strategy, which means we're going to try to sell more of our current product by selling it in new markets. So, as we suggested, now we're going to sell not just in the United States, but in Canada, in Mexico, in Europe, in the Middle East. And then product development, where we said that we're going to sell a new product. So it could be something that's new to the world or new to the company. And it could be a brand extension, like we were discussing, the iPod, the iPad, the iPhone, the iWatch, or it could be a completely different product. What do you think would make sense? Shampoo! What about shampoo? No? So, but it would have to be within our current market. So it would have to be in the United States. Now we might introduce a completely different product, the Apple shampoo, and sell it in markets outside of the United States, which was our current market. That would be an example of diversification. So selling a completely different product in a new market, in a completely new market. SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We need to understand when we're developing our plan, both our business plan and our functional plan, and of course the corporate plan, we need to understand what are the strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats. Remember we talked about that last time? And then here's an example of some of the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for Ben & Jerry's. Some of these things we talked about. We said, for example, that one of the strengths for Ben & Jerry's is that the brand is well known. So it has a high level of brand awareness. We said that that's a strength. A weakness is that sales growth has slowed in recent years. That's a weakness. So then we need to decide, what are we going to do about that? So when you develop a SWOT analysis, it's not just meant to be interesting, it has to be actionable. So when we identify these weaknesses, we need to do something about it. We need to do something about it. We need to do something to increase our sales. And then we talked about different opportunities in the market and also threats. All right, so now, let's talk about segmentation. Oh, we're good. We still got 3 more hours. Okay, so segmentation. Are you ready, Marissa? Yeah. Segmentation. So there's different ways that we can segment the market. One of them is what? Demographic. So when we segment the market based on demographics, what does that mean? What is demographic segmentation? So there's different ways we can segment the market. Demographic is one of them. What does that mean if we segment the market based on demographics? Go ahead. James, right?
Yeah, like age, the age, where they're living, like location, race, and stuff like that. Splitting up into different.
So James says their age, for example. So that's a demographic criteria. So we could segment the market based on age. What does that mean? That we're going to develop groups. So what we're doing is dividing a market into submarkets based on, in this case, age. So what we're going to try to do is identify different age groups that have similar needs and wants. So a particular age group, let's say 19 to 29, an age group 19 to 29, and an age group from 30 to 39, and from 40 to 49, and from 50 to 59, for example, we could identify those as unique segments. So each of those segments, the reason why that's significant, why we would think that's significant, is because our expectation is that each one of those age groups is unique relative to the other age groups. So relative to the other age groups, they're going to have different needs and wants. So their needs and wants are going to be different. They're going to respond to the marketing mix in a different way. What does that mean? So for example, based on the age group, they may not, or maybe they will, purchase a given product at a particular price. So look, for example, at products in the market that have a good, better, best pricing strategy. So you could buy a product that's $4.99, $5.99, $6.99, $7.99, the same product. So isn't that, for example, the strategy that Apple has implemented with their iPhone? So aren't they at different price points? So if you want to get the iPhone 4, and it only has 16 gigabytes instead of 32 gigabytes or 64 gigabytes or 128 gigabytes, then it's at a much lower price. So You could get an iPhone for $299, for $399, for $499, for $599, $699, so $799. So why is that relevant? Because different segments are willing to purchase that product at a different price. So everybody's not willing to buy the product at $799, which is, by the way, $800. So you might consider $799 to be what we call a magic price point, but it's $800. So not everybody's willing to spend $800 for an iPhone. So what should they do? Should they just sell one model? That's it, one model, $800. Take it or leave it. It would certainly simplify their manufacturing process. But no, they realize that you can't limit yourself. That you need to segment the market and identify different opportunities to sell our product. And one of the ways we could do that is based on price.